You know what I keep thinking about when I do this type of switching? When I started out recording shit and it sounded like ass, and I was like, okay, I don't know what I need to do. But thanks to technology, thanks to YouTube and the internet, we can just learn shit and, just listen at that difference once more. Amazing. Hello and welcome back to my channel, guys. My name is Buri and today we're going to talk about how I mixed Weight of the World. I prepared the session for you guys and I disabled all the plugins, so this is how it sounds raw. So let's go one by one what I'm doing here. I want to preface this by saying everything you will see here I learned from videos online on YouTube. If you see anything that you start scratching your head and thinking like, Booty, what the fuck did you do? Then please let me know in the comments because I'm always open to learn. You'll see there are some rookie mistakes here and there, but I just wanted to sound good. Somehow I managed to do that. And we're going to take a look at exactly what I did. All right, just as a general note, I have everything set up in buses, like you should do, I'm guessing. So I have the master bus, the mix bus, the instrument bus, and then I'll have the drum bus, and then, the basses go directly into instrument bus, and then I have some guitar buses for the rhythm, lead, the clean, and then for the vocals I have a vocal bus, a main vocal wet bus, and the background vocal wet bus, because I wanted to have those vocals, different types of delay and reverb in them. Let's start off with the drums. The drums I'm using GGD P5. The preset I use is the Atropos, wrong. The preset I'm using is the Atropos Full Turbo, but with some slight changes. That's why I called it Booty Atropos Full Turbo, and it sounds like this. I mean, if we just play, this is how it sounds. All right, before we go into the master bus, because the master bus is actually just a tape saturation and then some limiters and razors just to make it louder. So we're going to do that in the end. First, we're going to listen to what the instrument bus processing sounds to the drums. You know what? I'm going to open up all three of them here quickly because this is what I learned from Nolly's videos. Actually, I started out with replicating the exact settings and then changing it to my taste. That's why you'll see in the preset name, it says Nolly Wildfire, because he used that one on the Wildfire mix demo. First one, just that one alone doesn't do very much. The biggest change happens with this one, with the virtual mix rack. The preset is called Instrumental Bus. What? Instrumental Bus Magic, yeah. Instrument Bus Magic. This is without, this is with. This is without, this is with. Okay. All right, it's gonna get crazier right now. So on the drum bus, I also have a virtual mix rack. That is only for the drum bus. And this sounds like this. Right? Okay. Then let's go into the drum processing on the drum buses, or on the separate buses, the sums. So we have the kick sum, the snare sum, the tom sum, and everything. They have also separate processing going on. So let's go to the kick. Without, with, and then the snare sum. The tom sum you're not going to hear right now because there's no toms in this part, I'm guessing. Oh, and there was one tom. Okay, wait, let me go back a bit so we can hear the drums. All right, and then we have the cymbal sum. Let's wait for a cymbal part because then you'll hear it better. Here. Let's go here. All right. So the cymbal sum. And then the last one is the room. And if I turn on the master bus now, you should hear a difference. So let's hear it once again with everything off and then the whole drum processing on. This is off. It is insane. It's actually insane. All right, that is dope. Yeah, I'm gonna leave the instrument bus and the master bus on now. If you ask yourself, hey Booty, why do you have a mix bus but it's empty? I can answer that for you. I used to have two of those. I used to have the virtual, the tape saturation and the first limiter on the mix bus. But I moved them to the master bus because I ran into latency issues when I tried to play with a plugin. Because if you see here, all these plugins create 113 milliseconds of latency. And I couldn't play like that. So what I did is I have the mix bus empty. I could rename it actually, but I have the mix bus empty so I can reroute. I could say this should directly go to stereo out. That means it doesn't go through all the plugins there. And then I could just play with the plugin, with the Neural DSP plugin or with my MIDI keyboard, and then it's in time. And after I'm done, I can just come back here and switch the routing to master bus again so it goes through all the plugins. That's just the workaround that I have. And in my template, it's still called mix bus. But we're going to just ignore that right now. Okay, let's go to the bass. I use Submission Audio Eurobass. Here I have it in clean mode for the clean bass part, and the processing behind it looks like this. First we have a virtual mix rack with the metal bass preset, and then we go into the first EQ, which looks like this. The second EQ is just a... Oh, I have to go back a bit. It doesn't matter. I'm going to talk about here. The second EQ just is a low cut or a high pass filter. And then I have the last plugin called, what's it called? Infinity Bass, which just makes the low end a bit more, present and rumbly. The same processing, actually really the same processing is on the distorted bass. The only difference is I have parallax. So let me quickly do these. I only have parallax, and also the bass isn't on clean mode, but it's on DI mode. And then with the parallax, it's just a preset I found that was called Eldritch Gain, and this just rips, dude. Let's hear this with the drums. Okay, let's move on to the guitars. But like I said before, I have different buses. I have the rhythm bus right here, and then I have the lead bus right here, and then the clean bus right here. I can mix them inside of the bus. So, for example, for the clean parts, I can say how loud they should be in relation to each other, and then I can bring up or lower down the whole clean channel. And the same goes for the lead, and the same goes for the rhythm parts. Let's listen to the rhythm guitar quickly. I have an EQ going. And then this one. And then the last EQ just to push up the mids a bit more, just to bring up the mids a little bit more, because I found it was a bit too kind of brittle. But I don't like to have my mids very high, because I still like, I mean, not the scooped tone, but too much mids, it kind of takes away from the clarity, and I like clear guitars. Even though it's distorted as fuck, I like to have a clear guitar sound. Yes, so if this is without, this is just a tone directly from my quad Cortex. Great. Now we have to focus on more smaller parts, because the lead doesn't happen all the time. Let me quickly open the lead. All right, the first lead that happens. Let's start chronologically. Which one is it? Is this one. This is just my lead tone on the quad Cortex, but I want something to, you know, sound very, very big and almost ethereal like, but still should have weight in it. So what I did was, I first, maybe it's a dumb idea, I just put a decapitator on it, just to make it a bit more gnarly. This way it almost hurts the ears, but with the EQ that follows, it just takes it a bit down. So, see? Just gives a bit more of a punch. And then the last thing, dude, that Space Blender is something else. Yeah, that's dope. That is so dope, dude. Fuck. Okay, let's continue with the next lead parts. I am very sorry. There's no processing going on there. That is very interesting. So this is just straight out of my quad Cortex, apparently. I thought I did something there. Okay, let's go to the next part, because the leads, there's nothing going on here. So that's the guitar solo, the kind of a guitar solo that the song has. And I did an EQ, a very narrow EQ. I end up doing that all the time when I do a lead thing. I bring it down very close because I like the sound of it. And then I have an OTT, which I used for the first time. Maybe I'm using it the wrong way, but I just, you know, tweaked the knobs a bit until I thought, okay, that sounds good. And then I have my favorite plugin going on here, but disabled everything except for the EQ, which I have a low pass and a high pass, or high pass and low pass filter, and also additional wet effects. So we have a delay and reverb. Okay, last thing, clean bus. So let's actually directly check out this part. So we have this one. Just a small little EQ where I pushed this part a bit. Just this one. Without it. Yeah. The same is true for the right one. Where is it? Here. And then on the clean bus, I have this SSL 4K. Which actually just does something here in the high mid frequencies. Okay, let me quickly do this again. Oh, yeah. Let's focus on these glassy chords that I called them. So, in the song, you'll hear this, oh shit, this guitar part here. And before that happens, actually, it has the same guitar part, but an octave lower. So I took that same guitar part, added a pitch shifter, from what's it called? A kilohertz something. Oh, I can't. Come on. I can't move it up. I'm just gonna quickly insert a screenshot here. Anyway, just 12 semitones on an octave down, and then also another EQ because it got too dirty for me with the pitch down, with the octave down. Then it switches to the octave up, or the normal one. All right, nice. So I think as far as the instruments go, we had everything. I mean, there's one. I mean, I have to have one of those. There's one little synth idea that I had. This one here. I put an EQ on and a decapitator. Yes, and then on the same part, there's the only thing, yeah, right now, the only thing I took from the song, from the original song, was this one, because I couldn't figure out what the fuck that was. So I just took it, and this one. I mean, it's clearly something, you know, a synth or a guitar with feedback, but I couldn't recreate it, so I just snapped it out of the song and put it in here. But from the snap that I took out of the original was just good for, you know, for that short period. So it was good for 2 bars. After that, it kind of lost quality and then came back again. So I had to, you know, improvise and just took those 4 or 2 bars and repeated them and then mashed them together so it just creates one soundscape. And there's even a in the background, but because it's buried in the mix, you can't even hear it. The same thing is here. There again. And also on the end. Again. That's just the only thing I took from the original. Everything else is recreated, as you can see. Okay, now let's go to vocals. God. This is the first time I'm trying to process vocals for real, for real. So there's going to be lots and lots of mistakes. Let's hear how it sounds without anything on. Shall we? To be beside you, the way you smell, the way your lips feel, and your fingernails, the way your fingers crawl up my spine. Okay. The way you always make me the last in line. Okay, let's check this part and see what we've done. Oh God. Let me... Alright, this way. Good. The last in line. Love to be beside you. The way you smell. The way your lips feel. So what is that? We have, first, we have a limiter again. Limiter. Then a decapitator. Because apparently that's what you do. Or at least I did. I wanted to have more saturation on it. And your fingernails. The way your and then an EQ. Crawl up my spine. The way you always make me. I wanted to get rid of the low end because there was too much low end, especially with all the harmonies. The low end was just building up, so I just cut it down because I don't need that part because it's a rock song. Come on. The last in line. And then we have beside you. The virtual mix rack with the preset extra crispy vocal. The way you smell, the way your lips feel, and your fingernails. And then additional saturation with the SSL Native X saturator. The way your fingers crawl up my spine. And in the end, just as a precaution, I have this pitch correct thing going. The way you always make me. You see, for example, the little red lines on the side of the note is where it had to correct my... The last in line. Love to be... Okay, good. This is that. And then I have the same thing going for the formant vocals. Let me just... Be beside you, the way you smell. It's the same processing except for the pitch shifter. Oh, I split them left to right, exactly. So I have the same thing going on, the same idea, but I have split them left and right just to create that effect. So you can see here, it's the formant vocals formant vocals left, formant vocals right. And then what happens with these is... I have to open up the mixer again. The same processing, but with the meta pitch on. That's just a plugin. A meta pitch, where you can change the formant, and it makes that cool deep house kind of a vocal effect that I love. And in combination with the main vocals, you always make me the last in line. Just gives another edge, which I love. I really love. I when I did that, I was like, "Oh my God, that is fire!" I really have to do that. Okay, let's go to the next part, the pre-chorus. Now there's a lot more things happening, including some background vocals. Fuck. Let's go. Love to be beside. Oh, sorry. Here. I carry the weight of the world as the power. It sounds fucking horrible. Okay. We have the same ideas going on here. Actually, this is the part where I said I'm an amateur in processing vocals. Because instead of doing the same thing I did with the guitars, having all these buses and processing on the sums, I just had one track and I just duplicated that track, and I thought, okay, I need the background vocals now. I need 2 or 3 or 4. I just duplicated it 4 times, so I have the same processing going on almost all of them. The only difference is, if you can see here, they're going to different channels, because I have, for the wet effects, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I have the main vocals wet effect with different delay and reverb settings than on the background vocals. So you'll see these are going to the main vocal, this one goes to the back, this is main. Depending on what type of vocal it was, I just, spread them across. But the rest of the processing is the exact same. So I'm just going to do it quicker. I'm going to do this. Past is unfurled, but I won't stop to wonder. Carry the weight of the world as the past is unfurled. Adds a whole ton of high end, cuts down the lows, and you know, all the compression and everything that has to happen in a rock kind of a vocal. But I won't stop to wonder. Okay. Let's move on to the chorus. Oh, by the way, I did the same trick here as well. But I won't stop to wonder. But I won't stop to wonder. But I won't stop to wonder. Yes, for the chorus, it dies down a bit. The background harmonies aren't that wild. I just have one, and this sounds like this. I tell you this, but I don't know how, and I'm caving in, and I'm falling out. Okay, let's move on to the next verse. Same thing goes. The same as the first verse. And pull away. The way you seem to left and right. Okay, and then this goes on, and then this one. This isn't the part of the song, but I felt like I want to do that. Okay, and then the double time chorus, the faster one. We have this is the busiest part, I'm guessing. And beneath that, we have the ending harmony. As it falls apart, feel the weight of the world. As the world falls down, feel the weight of the world. As it falls apart, feel the weight of the world. As the world falls down, feel the weight of the world. As it falls apart. And then we have the ending rap, which actually I was contemplating if I should even do it, because I felt I was cringing a bit with the idea. I should kind of, the scream rap kind of thing. Then I was thinking if I should just copy that part as well, just from the song. But I thought, fuck it, I'm already doing it. I'm balls deep in this shit. Hours spent. I'm just gonna try to do that, and then this is the end rap. This pain, I think about it every day. It tells me. Also, the only part that I triple track. So one, we have the center, and then we have left. I'm never gonna get away. And right. I know it's over, but I can't escape memories and how to face another day. Yeah, so what I want to do now, because this is the busiest part here, I'm gonna use this as a reference. So I'm gonna disable everything again and then enable everything, and we'll see the difference again. Everything disabled. You know what I keep thinking about when I do this type of switching? When I started out recording shit, first time you have first time I had a laptop and an interface, and I was like, okay, I have GarageBand on my MacBook. Let's fucking go. And it sounded like ass. And I was like, okay, I don't know what I need to do. And it was such an unattainable thing. But thanks to technology, thanks to YouTube and the internet, we can just learn shit and, just listen at that difference once more. Amazing. Amazing. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this video. Not like there's not enough mix breakdowns already, but for my followers that are wondering how I mixed and produced that track, this is how. Just showed you everything. If you have any questions anyway, just let me know. If you have any tips, or how I can make my workflow more efficient, please let me know. I'm good at guitar. I suck at mixing, so I'm very open to learn. All right, guys, this was it. This was Weight of the World. I hope you enjoyed the track. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown. Again, if you have any questions, if you have any tips, just hit me up, let me know, and see you on Saturday. with the next episode of Sick Riff Saturday. Thank you. Peace out.